This morning, Democratic Congressman Steve Cohen is celebrating another landslide victory for him in Tennessee's 9th Congressional District.
The incumbent easily bested his Republican challenger with 79% of the vote. He'll be sworn in for his 6th term in office in January. But again, it will be under a Republican majority Congress and White House, something he says makes for a dangerous time in our country. In fact, last night, Congressman, you even told one of our reporters this was the worst moment since 9/11. Those are really strong words. What did you mean?
I meant it's the worst moment in the country since 9/11. We've elected the least qualified person in the history of the United States to be president. We've elected a man with a very limited attention span and very little regard for people who are not his allies and friends. A man who's shown to be vengeful and gets revenge. He can have a Republican Congress that's going to be mostly concerned with the deficit. He wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act. There are problems with the Affordable Care Act. Mend it, don't end it. People who have pre-existing conditions are going to die because they're not going to have insurance and they're not going to get health care. And people aren't going to get preventative health care. The guarantees of children staying on their parents' insurance until 26 is over. We go back. Climate change is a threat to this planet. Forget it.
But Congressman, some will say
he's going to go into ISIS.
But some will say, like him or not, respect him or not, Americans want it change.
Americans want to change, and you can get change within the system. Hillary Clinton got the most popular votes, just by a little bit, but the most. So you say Americans want to change? More than half of the Americans wanted Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
and if it weren't for James Comey, in an unprecedented move by the FBI, Hillary Clinton would be president. And if it weren't for WikiLeaks, which was Russian cyber attacks on the DNC and John Podesta and the DCCC, Hillary Clinton would be president. But when Russia and FBI put somebody in office, it's a scary day in America.
But what does it say about your party that a woman who has been in public service for a long time
30 years.
Versus a man who has never, what does it say that she lost about the party?
I don't know if it's I don't know. It says some things maybe about the party, but I don't think it's the party because Republicans were changed. This was an outsider thing.
Yeah.
People did have Bush and Clinton overload. They didn't want them back. And
would Sanders have had a chance?
Bernie Sanders would have had a chance because he'd have had the outsiders. The more millennials would have voted.
So that's my point. Did the Democrats miss the boat on the change issue? Because he would have been a change.
The Democrats didn't miss the boat. They got the boat in 2008 with Barack Obama. Barack Obama was elected as the change candidate. He was the guy with just 4 years in the Senate, hope and change. He got elected following Bush. The Democrats didn't follow up with that with an Elizabeth Warren or Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden's been around for a long time.
Right.
He would have won. Elizabeth Warren, she would have won. Al Franken, he would have won. Mary Beth, you might have won.
Was this also a vote against President Obama as well?
To some extent, it was a rejection of the first black president. This election was a white election. It was a lot of angry white people who voted to a large extent against Hispanics, against Muslims, against African Americans, against Jews, against minorities. And it's a sad day for America, which is a melting pot, which has prided itself on being more e pluribus unum. This was not e pluribus.
But at the same time, she did not. A lot of female voters did not support Hillary Clinton. Did she not do her job in reaching out to them?
I don't that gender is necessary. She got most of the female voters, but it's not necessarily a monolith. And there were a lot of women that are pro-life, and you can forget pro-choice. This Supreme Court will repeal Roe v. Wade. There were a lot of women that are hawks on the military, that are pro-life, that are conservative. And you weren't going to get them just because of their gender.
What does the Republican establishment do now? The McCains and the Ryans and the people who did not support his candidacy. What do they do? Are they going to be more likely to reach across the aisle to establishment Democrats then, or are they going to go, hey, we won?
I don't know what's going to happen with them. You know, McCain's not a war hero. Remember that? Not a war hero. The man's a hero. I like the man. The House, Paul Ryan, he and Trump don't get along. But Paul Ryan's got to protect himself from the Freedom Caucus, and he could lose his speakership. You know, there's been a lot of changes. Ed Stanton, this close to being a federal judge. I had him to the White House, nominated. He's next in line. They're not going to approve judges in the lame duck now that they've got the White House. That's unfortunate. He
So,
would have been a fine
Congressman, from
judge.
a Democratic standpoint, what do you expect? Can anything get accomplished?
It's hard to say. You know, I've had good relations with members of the House that are on the Republican side on budget amendments. We'll get some budget amendments. It's going to be difficult. You just have to see what happens. Maybe more constituent work, because we're going to have more people without health insurance, more people in need. You know, yesterday I made a call on the VA hospital to try to get us a good new director.
Will the Democrats be as obstructionist as many have said the GOP in the House?
They have a majority. They could be obstructions. We cannot be obstructions. We can message.
Unfortunately, out of time. Congressman, thank you very much for being here. Congratulations on your victory.
Thank the 9th District for their votes. It's an honor, and I'm going to do everything I can to help the 9th District.
And again, we